We are in lesson 256, and in this lesson, we are working with nonsense words that contain vowel group 4 teams. Vowel group 4 is a new vowel category that we're introducing, and vowel group 4 is when two vowels join together and form a team, and the first vowel in that team will represent its long sound, and the second vowel will be silent. We have 10 teams, which I will cover in just a moment, and I suggest you memorize these 10 teams so that when you encounter them in a word, you immediately recognize them as being a team where the first vowel will represent its long sound. Also, for the first time, we're going to see W can function sometimes as part of the vowel team. Up until now, whenever you see W in a word, it's been a consonant where it represents the sound W. But when you have vowels A, E, or O followed by a W, then normally the W joins with the A, E, or O and becomes part of the vowel team. So I'll point that out as we go along. Also, when you have the long A sound at the end of a word, we normally are going to use the AY team to represent that sound. And the long A sound is never represented by just the letter A at the end of a word. If you see A by itself at the end of a syllable or at the end of a word, it will not represent the long A sound. So let's look at the 10 teams that constitute vowel group 4. First, we have AI and AY. AI, as in the word rain, represents the sound A, and AY in the word pray represents the sound A. So two vowels come together, and the first vowel represents its long sound. Normally, when you have a long A sound at the end of a word, it will be represented by the team AY. Not in the middle of the word. In the middle of the word, you would use AI. Now we have 3 teams that represent the long E sound. EA, EE, EY. All of these teams represent the long E sound. Again, the long E sound at the end of a syllable, you would normally use EY to represent that sound. We have OA, OE, and OW, all representing the sound O. Notice we underline teams to indicate that two letters join together. And for the first time here, you see W as part of the vowel team. So up until now, when you see W, it's always been a consonant, but as you can see with OW, it represents the sound O, as in the word low. Now later we'll learn OW can also represent another sound, ow, as in the word how, and we'll talk about that later in the program. But for now, when you see OW, underline it. It's a vowel group 4 team representing the long O sound. Now finally, we have UE and UI as vowel teams. Remember, U is the only vowel that has not one but 2 long sounds. The primary long sound for U is in the word mule, where U says its name, U. But the second long sound for U is in the word dude, where the U in that word represents the sound oo. When U represents its second long sound, we double underline it. And remember, the sentence to help remember the 2 long sounds for U would be, the dude rode on the mule. So we have a UE team where it can either represent the first long sound of U, as in the word Q. I took my cue from what he said. But notice in the word true, we have 2 lines under UE in that word because the UE team there is representing the second long sound of U, which is oo. So again, in Q, UE is representing its first long sound, U, so we underline it once. But in true, UE is representing its second long sound, oo, so we double underline it. Now in UI, as in the word fruit, notice it's double underlined because it's representing the second long sound for the vowel U. That's the only sound UI ever represents. So whenever you encounter UI in a word, and it's a relatively infrequently encountered team, you would double underline the UI because it's going to represent the sound oo. Now there's a note I need to add about spelling. and that is for the nonsense words, I'm no longer going to dictate words to you to spell. And the reason is because we have too many ways to represent long vowel sounds now. As an example, to represent the long E sound, we have EA, EE, and EY. So if I were to dictate a nonsense word containing the long E sound, you could spell it using either one of those three teams. And we also have a fourth way we could represent the long E sound. We could put a silent E at the end of the word and have the vowel that comes before that silent E make its long sound as well. So that's four ways that you could spell a word, a nonsense word, with long E. So at this point, it's no longer practical to dictate to you nonsense words. So we're going to change the protocol just a bit, and we're going to do the dictation in a different manner. Actually, it's not dictation at this point. We're going to call it marking the word correctly. So let's start with this first word. And what you do is the word, you want to mark this word. Now, what do I mean by mark the word? Well, we underline any teams we encounter in the word. If a letter represents its second sound, we double underline that letter or letter team. If the word has a silent E at the end of the word, which it won't in this exercise, you would underline the silent E at the end of the word. And then finally, you associate a vowel group number with the vowel sound in each of these words. Now, all the words in this lesson are going to be vowel group 4 words, so that's not going to be very challenging. But you want to get in the habit of recognizing these vowel group 4 teams, underlining them, and placing the 4 directly under those teams. And you want to try and center the 4 in the middle of the team. Remember, vowel group numbers exist so that it can indicate to you what sound the vowel is going to make in a word. So when you see two vowels together and join together and form a team, you know the first vowel is going to represent its long sound. So at this point, let's just continue through with these list of words, and you'll mark them. And the word is pronounced bays. Bays. Next word. Now, please mark this word, and then when you're ready, continue to the next screen. Deeve. Deeve. So what I'm going to do is just present you with the words in this particular lesson, and then as you see each word that's not marked, pause the video, mark the word on your practice paper, then advance the video to see that you've marked it correctly, and also, of course, pronounce it correctly. That's ultimately the end goal of this process, is so that you can accurately read these words on the page. The next word. Mark the word. Fay. Fay. Reese. Reese. Joe. Joe. Now here, W is part of the vowel team OW. Remember, when you have the vowels A, E, or O followed by a W, then the A, E, or O plus the W join together, form a team, and the first vowel will represent its long sound. Dome. Dome. Leal. Leal. Moo. Moo. Now, because this is a nonsense word, the UE team was double underlined initially, indicating that for this particular word, you want UE to represent its second long sound, which is oo. If the UE team had only one line under it, you would pronounce this word mew. Mew. But because it's marked with two lines under it, we want to represent the second long sound for you, which is oo, and you would pronounce the word moo. neep, neep. Tay, tay. Queef, queef. Of course, here we have two teams in the word. QU is a consonant team. And so part of the marking system is you always identify both consonant and vowel teams in a word by underlining them when you encounter them. Knee, knee. Sobe, sobe. Toes, toes. Vive, vive. Wheat, wheat. Yes, yes. Zo, zo. Here W is part of the vowel team OW. Bees, bees. Keef, keef. Vey, vey. Remember, when you have the long A sound at the end of the word, you would normally use AY to represent that sound. Floof, floof. Now, how do you know to double underline UI in this word? Well, it's easy. You always double underline UI because UI always represents the sound oo when you encounter it in a word. Noke, noke. Quame, quame. Reap, reap. Sape, sape. Vis, vis. Zay, zay. Wheeze, wheeze. Yob, yob. And this completes the introduction of nonsense words with vowel group 4 in lesson 256.